Move on to our other game. It's Chelsea versus Everton. That's the second game on our hop around. Chelsea are going through their own issues, not going well. But in the last few weeks, they've been winning. They won at Leicester the other weekend, but they are still 10th. Some people say whatever happens, Chelsea are forever 10th. That's not true. If they win the next game, they move up, of course, depending on what's happening. But they are 10th as we speak. 10 wins, 7 draws, 9 losses, a goal difference of 1. So that's Chelsea's goal difference. Everton, they are 15th. They've won 6 games, drawn 7, lost 14, a goal difference of -18. Very, very interesting numbers first. Let me get to the line. Let me get to line. Let me speak to our former colleague here at Citi FM, Citi Sports. He's in London these days. Rahman Osman joins us. Rahman, how are you doing? Good afternoon. Welcome to the Premier League preview show.
Hi, Nathan. It's like 2017 all over again, isn't it?
Yes, it does. It does feel like 2017 all over again. We'll talk a little about Palace in a second. You go to see, but we are talking Chelsea-Everton now. Just a few thoughts on Chelsea's season. Chelsea fans in Ghana and globally have been very unhappy with the team's form. The last few weeks have looked fairly good. They are winning games now. They are hosting Everton at Stamford Bridge. Just quick thoughts on this game, and of course the fact that earlier today we saw that Chelsea had been paired with Real Madrid in the Champions League quarter-final draw.
Yeah, I cover Chelsea, so I quite know very well what kind of difficult season it's been for Potter. But it's funny, in world of football, things flip so quickly. So if he was to win against Everton tomorrow, he would still be in with a good chance of winning the Manager of the Month, because he beat Leeds United and then he beat Leicester. And then if he could beat Everton tomorrow, that's 3 straight wins in the league. 9 points available, 9 points taken. Everybody will be happy. And I saw an interview yesterday he did where he used the F word and said that they'll try and beat Everton, get the Champions League draw done, and then use the effort to say they'll go on and win the Champions League. And it's happened before. When Thomas Tuchel came in, within 4 months, he went on a special good run and ended up winning the Champions League in Porto. You feel that's the DNA of them. They come up against Real Madrid, the mother and father of Champions League. And so that should be a tie. I saw the Champions League game last season when they played Madrid at Stamford Bridge, and Benzema and Vinicius killed them that day. Yeah? But that was the first leg, which was played at home. This time they get to play the first leg away in Madrid. So hopefully the tie will still be alive by the time they bring it to Stamford Bridge. Potter, like you rightfully said, I mean, it's been an incredibly difficult period for him, and he's had the backing of the owners, and it's made a difference, because the easy call would have been for them to sack him, bring in somebody on the interim, and then repeat the cycle. But the owners really wanted to change what used to happen under Roman, and that meant moving away from constantly hiring and firing a manager who was underperforming, and back, like the policy, back the manager. And this proved that Arsenal backed Mikel when it was easy for them to sack them. And now look at Arsenal punching above their weight and on their way to winning the Premier League title. So yeah, interesting days at Chelsea. Looks like they've turned the corner. Everton haven't beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge since 1994. So they are really up against it.
Wow, since 1994. That's a lot of work for Sean Dyche and his men. They themselves aren't really going through a great period. After beating Arsenal, it's kind of falling flat. But Roman, tell me, if Everton will cause a problem at Stamford Bridge, how can they cause that problem to Graham Potter's Chelsea side over the weekend?
Honestly, it's hard to tell. I mean, it's so hard because Chelsea seem to just really have turned the corner. Some of the big signings that came in on big money are beginning to find their feet. Kai Havertz is scoring. If he scores again, he scored in the last 2 games running. He scored against Leeds, he scored against Leicester. If he scores against Everton, what that means is he scored 3 games in a run. And only second time he's done that since he came from Germany. Khalid Koulibaly, who came for big money from Napoli, was having a really horrible season. He's beginning to play well. So can be said of Cucurella. He was man of the match in the Champions League game against Dortmund. The midfield is beginning to look solid. You're having N'Golo Kante come back. He might play his first minutes of the year against Everton, who are also coming into this one with a little bit of a breather. They beat Brentford, who had not lost in their last 11 games. But you get the feeling that they don't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin ready for this one. And their strength is mostly in defense and midfield, where they've got Idrissa Gana Gueye in there and Abdoulaye Doucouré. But they need somebody who can score goals, because they will create chances. The problem is that they are not able to score a lot of goals. And they brought Neil Maupay from Brighton to try and do that.
And Neil Maupay doesn't score goals either.
He doesn't. That's the problem. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not. I'm not going to say like he's not 100% fit, but they wouldn't risk him. There was a chance, because we spoke to somebody in the club and they said there was a chance he could play, but the risk is that because he's got a hamstring injury, it might escalate. So the wise thing to do is keep him wrapped up so that after the international break, he's able to come in and go for a full run as they fight to save their lives in the Premier League. So I wouldn't risk him. I'm not sure that will do that. Maybe he will be, because he will be picks and chooses the games he really wants to turn up. And when he does turn up, he's quite really good. So it'll be interesting to see the game plan they'll have. But Dyche is a master of these kind of games. You saw how he set up the team against Arsenal, and they did get a win against Arsenal. They were unlucky not to beat Forest. So they're not a team that is totally dead. They've shown proof of life recently. But Stamford Bridge, like I rightfully said, they just never win at the Bridge. And Chelsea look to have picked momentum at the right time.
Great, Rahman. Just hold on. We'll talk about Palace in a second. So Rahman makes an interesting point about Everton and their worries. It looks like it's a team that doesn't have any goals in them at all.
Yeah, my thinking about this game is Chelsea also don't score a lot, but Chelsea have a good defense. I mean, Chelsea have one of the best 3 defenses in the league, if I'm not mistaken. And Everton don't have one of the better attacks. So the way I see it is there's 2 goals in this game, max, from either team. Oh yeah, I really don't see more than 2 goals in this game. The reason I'm saying this is it's likely that maybe Chelsea score first, kind of keep the ball. When Everton open up, maybe they hit them on the counter. Yeah. That's if. Or maybe Everton open the scoring. You know, now they try and sit back, and then Chelsea kind of prod, maybe get the equalizer. I don't think they can go on to get the winner in that situation. Or maybe that situation goes and then Everton hit Chelsea on the counter again, make it 2-0 and kill the game. I just don't see a lot of goals in this game. And I think the game slightly favors Chelsea because of how good their defense is. Because these are 2 poor attacks, quote unquote, but one attack is poorer than the other. And one defense is better than the other. So Chelsea do have the best of both. And because of how good their defense is, it's been underrated this season because they are not scoring. They have a goal difference of 1 with the 3rd best defense in the league. That should tell you that where the issue is up front. And like our colleague Rahman said, we are seeing the goals. Kai Havertz is starting to score. We are seeing Enzo Fernandez starting to pick his passes and split defenses. We are going to see a bit more from Mudryk. We are going to see a bit more from Felix as they grow into their time at Chelsea. So when I think about all these things together, I just feel like Chelsea will have too much for Everton. They won't score a lot because that's just not where they are right now. They are still not kind of a free-flowing attacking team just yet. But I don't see Everton having enough for them.
I say so because last week I was on the beat for the Premier League show on radio, and before Everton played Brentford, I was asked for my prediction, and I said Everton will beat Brentford, and despite Brentford's brilliant form so far, because styles make fights, and the styles in that game favoured Everton because Brentford, they are big, they are strong, and they are very physical, and they thrive in those aerial challenges and opportunities. They love to counter-attack, and Everton can easily sit back, absorb those that kind of pressure situation, and also deliver some level of counter-attacking situations. And on top of that, they do create a lot of set-piece opportunities. Unfortunately, it's because they are not so effective or efficient on the counter-attack. That's how come they end up gifting away possession at the last minute, or the final pass isn't the best. That's how come they end up getting corners. That's how come one player ends up holding on to the ball and draws a foul. Then they end up with a free kick. that's where they tend to generate most of their goals from. And true, it played out, and Everton ended up beating Brentford. So looking at the styles of Chelsea and Everton in this one, they pretty much cancel each other out, and it will have to be the quality that rises to the surface, and for that, it's Chelsea.
And just to go back
for me,
to
Chelsea.
that game, another thing is Everton would like to sit back, and what helped them in that Brentford game is within the first minute they scored. Yeah. And Brentford are not a team that break teams down like Yao said. They are more of a counter-attacking set-piece team. So once they had to kind of break down the defense, which is why Eriksen was so key for them last season, because he gave them another dimension to their attack. When you look at the Brentford midfield now, there's no creator in that midfield. So when they had to kind of just keep hoofing the ball at Ivan Toney to kind of, chest it and lay it off versus Tarkowski, it wasn't going to go well, because that's the thing. Center, as good as you are in the air as a striker, most games, the defender is going to win 7 out of 10 of those duels. You win some, but the defender is going to win most of the time. And in that situation, Everton could even afford to double up on Toney, knowing that, we have the lead. We don't need to go for it. So those things really matter. And like I said, if they try and do that against Chelsea with their huge centre-backs, so Koulibaly, Badiashile, Fofana, those are very solid centre-backs who are not going to be dominated by these aerial balls. So it all points to Chelsea.
Okay, all right. Quite interesting. We'll see how it plays out in that game. Chelsea versus Everton at Stamford Bridge.